Good morning. I want to thank my entire cabinet of leaders, Dr. Posner and the SIM team, McKinsey Consulting, and all our staff who participated in our work groups and contributed to the final reopening plan that is being presented to this school board today for discussion and adoption. I'm also grateful to our parents, teachers, students, our unions, and community members for their continued feedback. I am also thankful to this school board for your support, guidance, and time. Speaking of time, we've held 7 workshops. That's an entire week of workshops on school reopening planning. Our commitment to our kids is demonstrated time and time again as we step up to challenges and crises and do whatever it takes to plan and prepare so that we can best serve our students. As an avid reader of history, I got my hands on a copy of Tom Brokaw's book, The Greatest Generation, shortly after it was released back in 1998. It is a story about the men and women who grew up in the United States during the struggles of the Great Depression and then went on to fight in World War II. We are all beneficiaries of their legacy of sacrifice, courage, and resilience. It made me reflect on the idea that sometimes it takes a generation to save a generation. So here we are, 3/4 of a century later, facing our generation's existential crises all at the same time. A pandemic, an economy in free fall, and another moment of moral reckoning with our country's quest for justice and equality. All of us desperately wants our schools to open for face-to-face learning, as we know how important the work of this district is in meeting the critical needs of our students and families, including providing academic growth and social emotional development, supplying food and nutritional needs, providing mental health supports and identifying child abuse, and giving support to about 5,000 students who struggle with housing insecurity and homelessness. We also understand very clearly how critical it is to open schools so that our families can get back to work and move the gears of this economy. However, our collective efforts have been insufficient for the challenge before us. Our generation has not shown the discipline and sacrifice during this crisis to create the conditions necessary for the safe reopening of schools. We must do 3 things in order to open our schools. First, control the spread of this pandemic. Second, develop protocols that provide for the health and safety of our students, teachers, and staff, and gives them the confidence to return to our campuses. And third, provide funding to cover significant shortfalls in revenue and pay for the required protocols and measures. Today, you will review and discuss our proposed draft reopening plan with health and safety protocols, strategies for improving the e-learning experience, accelerating learning, and much more. But what you will not see today is the other half of what is needed to open schools. And that is a comprehensive and disciplined community strategy to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus. Public health experts and infectious disease physicians recommend that children not go to school until the positive test rate is 3 to 5% over a rolling 2-week average. Our local positive test rate is still averaging close to 10%, which is significantly higher than the recommended range to consider reopening schools. As we continue to consult with our local public health officials and medical experts for guidance, I've been clear about reopening schools, and that is we will not compromise the health and safety of our students, teachers, and staff. That's our highest priority. So when we start the new school year next week on August 19th, it will be with a 100% virtual model, or what we call e-learning, for all students. We will continue to watch the trends and will revisit the decision on October 1st. Controlling the spread of the disease will require sacrifice and changing our behaviors. It will require each and every one of us to contain community spread of COVID-19 by wearing masks, by physical distancing, by washing hands, and by staying away from crowds. I want to thank everyone who is doing their part to make our community safer. We have seen health and safety practices lower the COVID-19 spread in other areas, and we look forward to experiencing that here in Broward. Altering the direction of the pandemic will also require a widely available, timely, and effective testing and contact tracing infrastructure. Rapid and reliable testing can be a game changer. Last week, the Florida Association of District School Superintendents, of which I serve on the board, made the following plea in a letter to State Education Commissioner Richard Corcoran. Another incredible challenge to opening schools for face-to-face instruction that will impact the ability for operational and instructional continuity of our schools is the availability of rapid tests for students and staff members. The support of all state and private healthcare agencies to prioritize the availability of testing and rapid results of students and staff members will be critical. The availability of these tests could significantly reduce the time students and school personnel are absent from school and corresponding disruptions that come from the need to wait days or weeks for results. We continue to lobby our federal government to pass an additional coronavirus relief package that responds to the impact of COVID-19 and assists with the ongoing recovery by providing at least $200 billion to public schools across this country that serve over 50 million students. This funding is critically needed to help cover the impending substantial shortfalls in state and local revenue collections, to continue to feed our students and families, to close gaps in remote learning, to expand mental health services, to provide reliable high-speed internet access for all students, and to purchase the necessary PPE, materials, and equipment for enhanced cleaning and sanitation protocols so that we can make our schools safe for students, teachers, and staff when we reopen. I believe that this is our war and our moment to find the courage and make the sacrifices to save the next generation. And I believe we can and will do this. We can and must change our behaviors. We can and must put in place effective rapid testing system. We can and must send more funding to school districts. Our children are depending on us. We owe it to them and future generations. Let's get it done for their sake. And maybe some future journalist or news anchor will write about the courage and sacrifice of the most resilient generation. Thank you.